Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to everyone. Give yourselves a hand. We thank you so much for coming out to the NuWorld Epicenter. Thank you for coming to celebrate this very historical moment with us. We welcome you all and are very pleased that you have joined us this evening. The NuWorld Epicenter. You might ask the question, what is the NuWorld Epicenter? The NuWorld Epicenter is a technology, business, and creative ecosystem where innovation meets collaboration. The world's largest technology and business incubator, this space is designed as a platform where creatives of all types can engineer their ideas from conceptualization to materialization. As some of you have toured the space, you were able to capture a glimpse of what we have envisioned and are developing in this amazing NuWorld Epicenter. I have to say the best is really yet to come. We want to give the CEO a wonderful round of applause. Andre Amos, can you put your hands together for Mr. Amos for such an amazing vision. Great human beings are created, are born out of a yearning, out of a need. And I humbly submit to you that he's one of those special people that we're fortunate enough, can we turn that hot light down? That we are fortunate enough to encounter. I've had the great honor and privilege of working with him and learning and being under his tutelage. And I promise you, as humble as he is, as kind as he is full of necessary knowledge and substance that really helps to grow anyone who comes into contact with Mr. Amos. So I'm very fortunate. My name is Michael. I am a founder and CEO of a radio station. I've been in entrepreneurial space for the past 25 plus years of my life. I started a radio station 14 years ago, which I consider a very significant accomplishment in my life. And I've been fortunate enough to join on to this NuWorld movement. And we call it a movement because there's an energy involved in what we're doing. There's a creative energy involved in what we're doing. And so we're excited. We're excited about what's happening in this space. We're excited about what's happening in the products and the services that we are offering to the community, the broader community. So again, I welcome you wholeheartedly to the NuWorld Epicenter. Tonight we are extremely excited to launch a NuWorld platform and our NuBucks cryptocurrency utility that will be used within the dynamic space of the NuWorld platform. Moreover, we are very pleased that you have joined us to learn about the NuWorld Epicenter, the NuWorld platform, and NuBucks. We have some very enlightened speakers that we have lined up for you tonight who will share their relationship with us in this space, but who will also educate us in the areas of cryptocurrency, in the areas of business and technology. We're in a very unique position with all that's taking place, even with the gingerbread man running the house. Uh-oh, did I say something about a gingerbread man? I'm sorry. But anyway, no matter what's happening in the political climate, or even in the economic climate, when there's chaos, those who are wise, they quiet themselves within. They learn how to look out, survey what's happening, take the temperature, if you will. And out of that, they find a way, they find a system, a method, an opportunity. We're in a special place, in a specific and special place, what I call a corridor or a portal of time where we have an opportunity to win. Can somebody say win? I ain't hear y'all. Y'all ain't loud enough. I don't know if it's win. I like to win. Can somebody say win? Win. Win. That's right. Somebody about to applaud because you should applaud after you win, right? So we're happy that you're here with us today. Who works so hard place today. Could you please give them a We have young people. In this they put their hard sweat, they put their hard muscle and tireless hours into helping to make sure that what you're looking at right now was possible. We would like to show you in some time in the future the befores and the afters of what you're looking at. We'd like to take you as you went through the building and you look at some of those spaces that was done with the hands of young people who are part of an incubator process, who are committed to a process and who have a mindset for a new world and a new way of thinking. Are y'all with that? I'm excited. I'm so excited. So we have some wonderful, wonderful speakers today. I want to let you know, I know your stomachs might be a little, turning, doing backflips and, somersaults, but if you just bear with us, we are in the process and we will have your food served to you in short order, or have you serve yourself in short order. But we, as I said, have some amazing speakers that will come before you today, and we hope that you will put your thinking caps on. As we said, this is a technology and business space. This is a place where people learn, and we all should be in a place to learn. So although we have festive spirits and we're excited, we also want to make sure we're thinking and take away something from this process that will help elevate us, elevate our families, and elevate our communities, elevate the society, and listen, elevate the world, right? The whole planet needs to be elevated with intelligent-minded people who have a consensus in the idea that we need to heal, we need to be productive, we need to win, we need to get out of the cesspool of negativity and look at what success looks like, embrace that, hold that clean glass up, and enjoy what we should enjoy in life. Would you agree with that? Yes, all right. Thank you. Somebody, I appreciate that support. Somebody understand what I'm talking about up here. I ain't trying to preach, but don't make me preach. But we want to bring before you our first speaker who will come and share some amazing information. Let me give you a little bit about our speaker. He works here in this space. First and foremost, and he's a part of what we're doing. In fact, his business name is on the banner, and that's Fruition Labs. And I'm referring to none other than Mr. Wesley Okeke. All right, I got it. Y'all give me a hand. Give that brother a hand first. And then after you give him a hand, give me a hand for getting that name right. Listen. Mr. Okeke, before launching Fruition Tech Labs, Wesley's career of 20 years in business development, marketing, and sales within tech companies based in Boston and Silicon Valley. Wesley's career took him to Asia, Europe, Canada, South America, and throughout the U.S. From his years of experience in corporate, a simple and clear process to success, successfully taking an idea from concept to launch. Over years, with the support of many advisors, Wesley has put together a perfect 5 steps to fruition process, which is responsible for bringing life to many tech startups throughout Texas. Would you please put your hands together and help me to receive to the podium Mr. Wesley Okeke.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and welcome again. All this nice setup and displays has taken a lot of hard work, and Michael, thank you for giving kudos to those that have worked tirelessly. A lot of humility in this room from the staff, just so you know, from Andre on down. this afternoon, I had one of the gentlemen, Attire, had him run to Lowe's and pick some stuff up so we could get a lab together. But that's the heart of this particular space and the people that are involved. As Michael mentioned, my name is Wes Okeke. I'm the CEO and founder of Fruition Tech Labs. I'm originally from Nigeria, West Africa, where I grew up. Today is Nigeria's independence, by the way. Just so you know a little bit about me, my background's in electrical engineering, but I love technology from the day I was born. In fact, my mom used to say at 5 years old I knew what I was going to do. And I knew I was going to be a scientist. And she said, she would tell me to go clean my room. And I said, you know, Mom, scientists don't clean rooms. And obviously I only said that once. But I've been passionate about technology my whole life. And also people. And when I go to the stores, especially the stores like Best Buy, I would go to the tech side, and that's where I would stay. Or Walmart, I go to the tech side because I was obsessed. In fact, at 8, 9 years old, I was taking things apart. I was causing electrical fires at home in Nigeria. And every year we'd come to the U.S., because my mom's from the U.S., and I would buy things at Radio Shack, when Radio Shack was a tech store back then, in the late early 70s. But on one of my trips, so I used to go to Japan and Europe, but one of my trips I went back to Nigeria, and I'd gone to the village. I'd been to the city many, many times, but I hadn't been back to the village. And so 25 years have gone by, and I'm in my early 40s, and I'm back in the village. And I'm excited because, remember, I love technology. And I'm seeing satellite dishes in the village. So we're talking mud homes, brick homes, but I'm seeing satellite dishes, I'm seeing cell phones, I'm seeing all this cool stuff. And my mind is going crazy because my dad is also an engineer. I'm excited. But by day 3, I realized that clean water, electricity, medical resources, and educational resources hadn't changed in 25 years. Though technology was there, I was heart-struck. And I said, oh my gosh, because I'm passionate about this. But then I'm seeing people's lives not impacted as much as it could have been. And so the idea of fruition was born. And at that time in my life, I made a decision. I said, as long as I live and I'm involved in technology, I'm going to see to it that technology is used with a clear purpose. And it's not just necessarily social driven, but it must have a clear purpose in its development. And that is what Fruition Technology does. We are an incubator. And so what I look for are men and women, entrepreneurs or inventors or engineers that have an idea that has a clear purpose behind it. And we take them through what we call our 5 steps to fruition, from unlock all the way to launch, and help them launch their idea into their industry. You know, about 1.5 years ago, I met Mr. Amos, Andre out there, another very, very humble guy. He'd been in my office. We had a tech lab out in the 610 by 288 near NRG Stadium. And then earlier this year, that was the first time I met him only once, and then earlier this year we started talking a particular project we were considering working together on. And he said to me, he said, Wes, you know, when I saw you last year, I saw what you were doing, and I've always wanted to do that. And I go, what do you mean? He says, I always wanted to do innovation. And I thought, okay, that's kind of nice. He says, no, I'm serious. He says, I just bought the Exxon building, and I want to do innovation there, and I want you to come up. And then I said, okay, he's very serious about this. So that was the beginning of our friendship and our relationship. And so Fruition, we moved in here, and what we're doing within NuWorld Epicenter is we have on the 2nd floor what we call Innovation Depot. And Innovation Depot is building, we just are in the final development of our engineering and mechanical and electrical engineering labs and robotic labs, and then we're going to have a computer lab, and then we're also going to have a chemical engineering lab. And our goal is to find these engineers, these entrepreneurs, and these innovators. And this is something that we are very, very passionate about, and even more so, I'm very passionate about engineers. I feel that within Houston and within Texas, we have focused on entrepreneurs, and we haven't focused on the engineers or the innovators as much. And I see the need for all three to work together. Because the entrepreneurs typically have the business pursuit and focus and passion. The innovators have the ideas. I call them idea generators, because they're constantly coming out with new ideas, but they don't know what to do with them. And then you have the engineers who actually come in and begin to develop, whether it's software or hardware, begin to create these ideas. And so that's what Innovation Depot is going to be doing. We're also going to create an accelerator program within Innovation Depot as well. And more importantly, one of our key goals is to lead with diversity, collaboration, as Michael mentioned earlier, and inclusion. Something I've learned over the past 5 years when I first started Fruition is that your best work, your best innovation comes about when you have a diverse group of people. When you have people that come together from different backgrounds, different economic situations, different races, different ages, and they bring their minds together and their passions together to innovate. Our other goal is to build this also globally. So this is our first launch of Innovation Depot, but I can guarantee you it's not our last. And very importantly, I'm grateful and happy that this first launch is in Houston. Houston has the right people. I believe Houston has the talent, they have the purpose-driven men and women, and they have the passion and the ability to make this work. And welcome again. Look forward to seeing some of you soon in the near future. Please talk to any one of us if you want to join, collaborate with us in bringing innovation to Houston. Thank you.
We can do better than that. Let's get that, man. I think it was a quote that I read somewhere. It says, scientists dream about doing amazing things, but engineers actually do them. So we certainly applaud the engineers. Much of what we are using in every aspect of life was produced, created by an engineer. So we are certainly thankful, going back historically, and also really appreciate what Wesley said about the diversity and the importance of that. Creativity is diverse. It is very universal, like music. And so it's so important that we encapsulate that thought, embrace that thought in every aspect of how we maneuver throughout life. As we move forward in our program, we have 2 young men who are creators, who are brilliant. And we celebrate brilliance. It's one thing I really appreciate about being a part of the NuWorld movement. I found some people who, if I could say it that way, who love intelligence. You know, we live in a society today where they're backing it up, right? Oh, y'all act like am I talking to myself in here? It's all right. I know we ain't all pompous. That's the Greg Poupon. My darling. How are you? No, we are real people. We're seeing real things take place in society. But we hardly find in today's society where intelligence is appreciated. So I love intelligence. I love being around people who celebrate intelligence. 2 young men who will be coming before us represent that generation, that kind of appreciation or kind of representation that we appreciate. Launder, produced by Kyle Lampkin and Michael Belfour. Launder started by Kyle and Michael Belfour is a decentralized on-demand, laundry platform built to fill the gap in service left by the laundry industry. They are also our latest investment here in the New World, because we believe in you. We see an amazing product that you have to offer. As one of the beautiful qualities of Mr. Amos, he will give you a chance. I'm serious. And some people, want to keep it real. It may not have it all together, but he will invest the time, the energy to help you tweak and help you to get it together. And then, not only that, will support you and back you. So this is one of our latest investments. Launder is a mobile application which provides people with cheap, fast, and convenient ways to do their laundry. Would you please put your hands together and help me to receive to the podium the founders of Launder, Kyle Lampkin and Michael Befor.
How's it going, everybody? So first and foremost, we just want to say we can't believe we're here right now. We're more than excited to be a part of the Epicenter. Just being able to be around individuals like Andre and Wesley who have shown us the future has been a pleasure. And we're still pinching ourselves, honestly. So bear with us. With that said, I'm Kyle Lampkin, this is Michael Befor, and we're 2 out of 3 of the founders of Launder, which is a decentralized platform upon which people can get their laundry done. So we will actually pick the laundry up, we will process laundry, and we will deliver it back to you. And that's just one of the applications of our platform. With that said, we started on the University of Florida campus. I'm actually a Florida Gator myself. Michael went to UCF, but exactly. But he decided to move up to Gainesville, so he made the right choice, and that's where we decided to launch our platform. So right now we work with a network of college students who will process the laundry as a source of supplemental income, as well as laundromats who we have partnered in the area who act as the beneficiaries of the laundry in cases where there's too much demand, or you need your laundry pressed or dry cleaned or something like that. So we kind of started with the idea of, if we can't figure out a way to get our laundry done on this college campus, and we would ask all of our friends and they were having the same struggle, we realized that there was a need for that service. And that's kind of what birthed the idea of Launder.
Let me get a little bit more technical with it, of course. So, hi guys. Just to reiterate, this is insane. We appreciate the opportunity. I met a lot of you guys out there, and just the sheer amount of support and just the love you guys came up and showed us. Everybody said it was a great idea, and so many people just offered their contacts to call me, and it seemed like it's out of the goodness of hearts, just literally just wanting to help. So again, thank you. So yeah, thank you. This is my birthday, by the way. Today's my birthday, and I can't. So basically, like Kyle said, we started this laundry company in Gainesville, and we thought about it as an application for college students, and we entered this business plan competition. That was our first kind of experience with innovators and is this better? All right. That was our first kind of experience with innovators and people who start their own businesses, and they told us that it could have been more. And we started working on a business plan that would allow us to spread and allow us to provide our service and build communities all over the United States. And by pure happenstance, just the month after I graduated college and the beginning of the semester of Kyle's last semester, we got in contact with Andre, and he did just that for us. He was amazing and instrumental in helping us build our model that we're showing off at this event right now. He essentially helped us take this model and spread it through the use of people just like us, people looking to be entrepreneurs and looking to make their own success. So it ends up being something of a franchise model, right?
Yeah, so essentially it's, when we came to Andre, we had a solid model. We were doing laundry on college campuses, and for us, that was the future. And it was actually Andre who, piqued our interest and told us, this could be everywhere. This could be not just national, this could be global. And more than that, you guys don't need to roll it out all by yourself, because there are individuals like you who are just as motivated and just as passionate. And if we provide them with the tools necessary, then we can be part of a greater movement. And I think as soon as we heard that, as soon as we saw that, we were in. So that's kind of what brought us into this incubator. And on a practical sense, our application, the technology is native everywhere. I don't know if we're going to flip it. We'll just stay on the title screen. Either way, it's a mobile application on your actual telephone, but you can use it on your desktop, you can use it on your iPad, you can use it anywhere that feels comfortable, and we're looking to come to Houston as soon as possible. But with that said, we receive a couple of different kinds of payments, one of them being cryptocurrency, and pretty soon NuBucks as well. And I think that's one of the things we're most excited to share. Being a decentralized service and priding ourselves in the fact that we don't just operate from one specific location is the fact that being able to take NuBucks and cryptocurrencies just speaks to our motto, which is to decentralize the world, essentially. And that's what we're trying to do one step at a time.
So I think we kind of just spilled over our own PowerPoint here, but so the last cool thing that we haven't showed you comes probably at the end somehow. So we'll walk through the levels of participation while we get this final slide to go. For anybody wanting to get involved or wondering how the service works on the ground level, we have 4 different levels. The first level is what we call relay. These are our delivery drivers. These people make up the network of people that let us deliver the laundry on time and bear the logistical base. The next level is base. These are the people that are processing the laundry in their own home washer and dryer. We're trying to build a community of people that can make their supplemental income that way. And the third level is our partnered laundromats. We call them the hub. These are utilized for orders that we place that require special things like dry cleaning, or if you have a comforter or something like that to wash. And the fourth is the most exciting one in our opinion. This is the architect. This is what I was talking about, the people who want to be entrepreneurs like us and roll out something using this IP, using this thing that we've built as like a venue for us to spread this over the entire nation. You know what I mean?
So essentially, if you guys want to stop by the table or in the conference room next to us to talk to us about becoming an architect, or if someone you may know, is interested in becoming an architect, please do. We'll be here to the end of the night. And as for everyone that stopped by already, your passion just makes us more excited. So we appreciate you stopping by once again. We're sorry for taking so much time. We're still pinching ourselves. We're super excited to be here. But thank you guys for having us.
Let's give Michael, especially since his name is Michael, let's give him a happy birthday. Happy birthday. We're going to give him happy birthday to y'all. Come on, y'all. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, y'all know how it go, right? Come on, man. All right. We're going to keep it moving right away. Because we don't want you to be here all night. You don't want to be here all night. But we want you to we want to keep your attention. So we're going to keep moving along in our program. Our next speaker comes to us from the United Nations. Y'all can put your hand together for that. It's all right. That's what we're trying to do in the new world, is unite the nations, right? We got to unite the nations today. Amen? I said amen? And a woman. Come on. Where y'all at now? I need some audience participation. Don't leave me up here by myself. For real. Or what do the young people say? For real, for real. For real, for real? All right, let's keep it moving. All right, no more comedy. They told me to hold it down, don't get all silly up here, so I'm trying not to get silly. They told me not to preach. You have no idea how critical, how difficult this is right now. Thank you. Oh, it's all in a good spirit. Jabril Diallo, with over 35 years of experience in international relations. Dr. Jabril Diallo serves the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network as President and Chief Executive Officer. In this role, Dr. Diallo leads ARDN Global's Pathway Solutions Initiatives, which aims to popularize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and spread the goodwill of the United Nations. In close consultation and collaboration with partners, including the Office of the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, the United Nations Senior African Group, the United Nations System Entitled, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Would you please put your hands together and help me to receive Dr. Jabril Diallo to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I bring you greetings from the United Nations. As you know, the week that just ended is the most intense week for the United Nations. We have presidents, prime ministers, kings, and queens coming from 194 nations. And it's very appropriate that during the same time that we will have this opportunity to meet here today. Because what this says is that Africa, the birthplace of humanity, is open for business. Africa is open for business. And for that, we feel that Africa offers a wealth of opportunities for investment and business operations. I was very inspired by what Wesley Okeke had to say. Very, very proud of what he has said. And also I followed Andrew Amos and his work for a long time. They're part of a new generation that struggles the world, for whom the international community is like Houston, Texas. You go from one part of Houston to the other. And this is why I'm here. Because in March 2018, the African continent signed what we call the Free Trade Agreement. And that free trade agreement opened the African continent to being the continent where 55 nations have now become a single market of 1.2 billion people. And 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of over $3 trillion. Over $3 trillion. Africa is indeed open for business. At the same time, we have the African perspective. That is, the African Union has set up what is called the Agenda 2063, which is for sustainable development. And while governments hold the primary responsibility for the implementation of these agendas, we know, all of us here, that this cannot be achieved by governments alone. Business is very, very important, and as United Nations, we stand to give that kind of space, which is necessary for you, the business leaders, to be present. And there is one area that we lay a lot of emphasis on, which is the connection of Africa with women and youth. Women represent over half of Africa's population, and women are estimated to produce 60 to 80% of Africa's food. But women only earn 10% of African incomes, and they own just 1% of its assets. So realizing the untapped potential of African women and girls is a very, very powerful driver for Africa's success across all sectors. Opportunities abound in Africa, as we know, from the vast resource lands, coastlines, to the fast-growing youth population in the world, without leaving aside positive development in democratic and corporate governance. But at the same time, we have to face it. There are quite a few challenges facing Africa, from the lack of peace and security in many areas to obstacles in flourishing markets. But these challenges are not unique to Africa. There are challenges in other parts of the world that have been resolved, and we want to ensure that they are also resolved. The African Free Trade Agreement is really a vibrant opportunity for you representing the private sector here. And this is why I feel that the initiative that you have here is so important. My job takes me to travel ultimately to over 150 nations, and this is one of the most original initiatives that I have seen. Because after all, I was recruited into the UN by the late Kofi Annan in Geneva. And he is the one who was a mentor of mine and who said that we need to open up the United Nations from we the nations to we the people. This is where Kofi Annan brought in. And he brought an organization called the Global Compact, which is an organization that helps companies like yours to come and interact with the United Nations. And this is why I feel that the United Nations is ready to partner with NuWorld of the type that we are talking about, so that we make sure that not only business is there, but business is there to respect human rights, to respect gender, to respect people's rights. And this is where we bring the United Nations logo to make sure that that difference is made. And what better than to have a mission like NuWorld has to advise, develop, and implement financial dignity. I visited the facilities. It's just amazing as an opportunity. And this is what will bring about peace. At the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network, we're using 3 points as entry points. One, we're launching a Sustainable Development Youth Volunteer Corps, short-term and medium-term, so that young people, we need to really deal with this ticking time bomb in Africa, which is to provide education and employment opportunities for the youth. And when we talk about that, we need to always talk about gender, because no country in the world treats its women as well as it does its men. We all fought against apartheid in South Africa. There is something called apartheid of gender. And we need to fight apartheid of gender as forcefully as we fought apartheid in South Africa. And this is why it's so important for us to do this. Number 2, education. Education is the key. I was so impressed with my interaction with Andre Amos. He lays so much emphasis on education. And as I was saying to the correspondent, one of the newspapers here, education does not just mean the formal education. It also means the third channel. What we learn in terms of making the most when we have tax returns and other kinds of needs. So education is the second one. The third one, very quickly, is to deal with mayors, local governments. The mayor is the person that you go to when there is a problem, much more than the minister in Africa and the head of state. So when you get those three, the youth, education, and mayors, you wrap them around 2 means, which are sport and culture. 2 universal languages. Then you go and achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Next week, Wednesday, I've been invited by the Secretary General of FIFA. FIFA Secretary General, first time, is led by a woman, and a woman from Africa. She's the one who organized Russia 2018. Her name is Fatma Samoura, and she's from Senegal. She single-handedly organized the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, in Russia 2018. I'll be meeting with FIFA to see how we can use football, apart from the United States. It's one of the most popular sports in the world. How can we use football to help us achieve the areas of economic and sustainable development, starting with the World Cup of Women in France 2019. So with that, I would like again to salute your efforts and to say that we are ready to bring you to Africa and to bring the world to you. Thank you very much.
Let's give Dr. Diallo another wonderful round of applause. As I mentioned to you in the very beginning, there's a portal that's opening up. And we have to pay attention. We have to be present. And I'm not talking about just physically present, but present in the way that we think, being aware, being conscious, being astute. I appreciate what Dr. Diallo mentioned about being educated, which is one of the emphasis that we have here at the NuWorld Epicenter in this movement. We have to qualify ourselves for positions that await us, opportunities that await us. Would you agree with that? All right, all right. Y'all can put some hands on that one. So we'll talk big fields, right? Awake, the wide awake man and woman. And so there are big fields of opportunity for us, but we have to be ready. We have to get ready. And what Dr. Diallo mentioned about Africa, Africa is waiting on us. And we're waiting on Africa. We're waiting on Asia. We're waiting on all of the global citizens and reach out and touch them right from America with a different type of mindset, with a different appreciation for humanity. And that's where victory and real change in society globally takes place. You can't listen to these people who are talking about they don't want global. Right? You can't listen to that. They're just basically saying to you that they want to maintain a certain control over your life. But when we erase borders and eliminate these obstacles that block us from having that pathway to other human beings, then now we're in a whole different spirit and we can really change the world. So we thank Dr. Diallo, we thank all of you so far who have spoken. We're going to take a brief intermission. We want you to, by table, we'll be calling out for you to come, and now you can eat. And so you can tell your stomach, it's okay. We close to the promised land. So thank you so much, and we're going to take a brief pause and maybe listen to some sultry jazz or something. We'll call you by table. So I think it's table 1 and 2 that is being summoned. Table 1 and 2. That's you. You better move fast. There's a lot of other tables behind you. y'all give it up for our jazz band here at Walker and Company. They are killing it. Thank you.
That was absolutely awesome. Y'all can do better than that. Y'all show us some love.
Let's give it up for the Walker Entertainment Group. Can y'all put your hands together for them once again, please? We get ready to get started. Amazing. As you may not know, they are a band of favor on the Tom Joyner cruises. They are playing all over. So we're really honored to have them with us here today. Also, that wonderful vocalist that you just heard today, a very talented, amazing vocalist, Miss Denise Tishnor. Can y'all put your hands together for that? Listen, she was singing that song so good, I was starting to feel like a woman, for real. I felt so good listening to her vocals and the way her voice resonated and rubbed into and massaged into my soul. So we really, really appreciate your beautiful, beautiful, and really a tribute to one of the greatest vocalists of all times. One of the greatest of all times, Miss Aretha Franklin. Can y'all put y'all hand together for Miss Aretha Franklin? I know it's not the setting, but we got to acknowledge the greats. Listen, you can also get a copy of Miss Tishner's CD that is available outside in the atrium. But we want to get ready to get started, so we're going to start ushering people back into the room so that we can get through our program. We have other speakers that will be coming before us tonight, and we definitely want to hear from everyone and give full attention to what they have to share. We're looking forward to hearing from our CEO, Mr. Amos, who has so much to share with us tonight. Just briefly, we're not going to be long, we're going to get to the point, but we certainly need to make sure that we launch this process in a very strategic and energetic way so we build momentum and that we lose no momentum. So would you please, everybody that's out in the atrium, would you start making your way in to the event space? And I'm going to have to go out and get you in a few seconds. ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start up. I'll get your attention. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the food. Was the food good? We flew in a chef. He's pretty amazing. I wish I could enjoy some of that. We've been on a 21-day fast, and it's been pretty awesome, but that food is smelling so good. I don't even eat, like meat, but it still smells so good, right? Anyway, we want to get going on our program. If you would all find your seats, please, as you get your food and are seated, but we want to keep moving. We know it's Monday, and some of you got to go to work in the morning. But anyway, we're going to keep it moving. Our next presenter is an expert in the blockchain space. And as you notice, we are here launching a cryptocurrency called NuBucks. Many may not be as educated or aware of what's happening in today's economic platform. We're not aware that new forms of currency have been created out of the blockchain, a new form of currency that is being used as a new medium of exchange that decentralizes wealth or decentralizes money. It's a technological tool, no doubt, but it takes the power out of the hands of the big lenders and big banking institutions that govern everything in society. It's very important that we become abreast, more knowledgeable, informed about blockchain and cryptocurrency and what it can do, what it is doing. Many of you have heard of Bitcoin, maybe, Ethereum or Litecoin. You've heard of those that have been extremely successful. Some have become extremely wealthy behind cryptocurrency. So we want you to be informed. We're fortunate today to have an expert in the field, Mr. Greg Wong. Mr. Greg Wong is a blockchain expert who's working Cypher, a community management platform built and designed from the ground up for blockchain projects. This evening, he'll be introducing the business of blockchain. So I want you to put on your thinking caps like they used to tell us in grade school. Open up your head, open up your ears and your eyes, and pay attention. And let us receive to the rostrum Mr. Greg Wong.
Greg Wong, and I'll be presenting the business of blockchain. Now, when you think about blockchain, typically people talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, or just cryptocurrency in general. But rather, this is not a talk about that. This is about the underlying technology behind it, which is blockchain. And they aren't interchangeable terms. Now, I get one of three looks when I mention blockchain. One is what? People are just utterly confused about all of this. It's like I'm speaking a different language. And the second is, oh no, not again. It's they've heard from a family member or a friend, and over again. Or lastly, shut up and take my money. It's just about getting rich quick. But be prepared. We're going to go on a hardcore mathematical journey where it's going to be about an hour lecture. It's going to be more painful than college. We're going into cryptographic hash proofs. It's the fundamentals of cryptography. We're learning about Merkle trees. That's the good stuff. Really, I'm just kidding though. Alright, so what is blockchain? Next slide. So blockchain is a technology that permanently records transactions in a way short, a immutable distributed ledger. What that is you can read to it, you can write to it, but you can't edit it. Now, why in the world would you want that? And let's take into example Facebook, where you can read your post, read your friend's post. You can write new posts, but you can't delete your Facebook post. Now, what this would do is add additional transparency to the platform, and thus create a more censorship-resistant platform, one where free speech really means free speech. And if your Facebook post is permanent, you'd think twice before posting something, because it's there forever. And what this would result in is, hopefully, less fake news, where there's more signal and less noise. And this is also where I'll be jumping into identity as well later on. So, I gotta say though, blockchain is not just a distributed ledger. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And it's the same thing as saying the internet is only a network, or it's a publishing platform where you essentially only use it for Google. The internet is so much more. It's Facebook, Netflix, Snapchat. And these applications are just widespread. So, how does this impact businesses? Or better yet, your business? Now, we're going to rewind back a few years to the old days. And you remember these things, these yellow things. Well, they're replaced by Uber. Or next thing, hotels. They're no longer the de facto choice for vacationers. It's been replaced by Airbnb. And I'm not saying taxis and hotels, their industries aren't disappearing, nor are they obsolete. But rather, sizable revenue has been scooped from under them. And inevitably, this will happen to the other industries of today with blockchain. And that if you don't adapt right now, you risk becoming part of the old. Now, blockchain is just a new way to implement trusted transactions without trusted intermediaries. And what that means is that there's a chance that Uber or Airbnb actually become part of the old, because they're intermediaries in themselves. So, where is and can blockchain be applied? And I'm going to go over 6 verticals. Those are going to be intellectual property, identity, finance, energy, supply chain, and government. Now, with intellectual property, the creators, the artists, these are musicians, photographers, and even YouTube stars. They all have one problem in common, and that is what we call the hidden artist penalty. It's the very strength of the internet that makes it difficult for creators of digital content to be fairly compensated. It's hard to get paid for the content you put on the web. And conversely, it's hard to get legal rights to much of the content you find on the web. Checkout is hard. Licensing is hard. So the question is, how do you connect creators with audiences? What role do middlemen play? And forms of this intellectual property are seen in trademarks, copyrights, patents, and also subverticals. That being art, to music, to comics, software, to logos. And blockchain can help via easy and secure attribution and licensing. It leaves a transparent audit trail regarding who owns what and more. Next up is identity. And the internet in itself is a walled garden that locks up your personal data. Furthermore, it's siloed. It's often next to impossible to take your data with you if you want to leave. And this is not just with the internet per se, but this is also with medical data, where hospitals own your data silo, or data silos in themselves. And education credentials are easy to lie and fake your degree, or just a pain for HR to verify. And there's a better way to solve all this, which is what we call sovereign personal data, or self-sovereign identity. And this is where you control your data, give access to small pieces of that data to others as you see fit. Now, with medical data, hospitals don't have access to each other, or they don't have access to each other's EMRs, their electronic medical records. And now, imagine you're in another country, and in the case of an emergency, you're admitted with a time-sensitive situation. Well, this is where sovereign personal data would come in, and doctors would have access to your medical history, and thus make a better informed and educated decision. And this is swaying you to greater chances of survival. Next is finance. Now, imagine you have a family member, a significant other, your husband, your wife, in another country, let's say France, and you want to send them a wire transfer. Wire transfers, on average, international ones, cost $40. And why are they so expensive? Well, it's because a local bank in the US connects your international bank in the US to an international bank in France to your local bank in France. Just complicated. And each person gets about $10. Well, with blockchain, you can transfer from each other's accounts for pennies and relatively instantaneously compared to wires. Next is energy. And with energy, we know Houston is a large energy company. Energy is a $1 trillion vertical. And there's a massive shift happening, though, which is deregulation. And traditionally, these large electric utility companies would connect energy producers with energy consumers. But deregulation changes all of that. It's anyone can connect to anyone now. But how do they connect? How do you exchange dollars for electrons without a big middleman? Well, blockchain can help solve that. And there's a bunch of projects providing solutions to that space, which they're providing energy exchanges, electric car charging, and billing as well. With supply chain, how do you know that the diamond on your finger isn't a blood diamond? Or the watch you're wearing is real, it's not a counterfeit? Well, forgery and fake certification is big in the luxury good market. And blockchain can add transparency and auditability to the supply chain. Traditionally, it was highly opaque. And with blockchain, you can reduce the leaks in the chain and also reduce insurance costs. Now, this is a vision of fair trade, but with more trust and less cost. And lastly, we have government. Now, more tax dollars can directly go to schools, parks, and healthcare, public good, and for less administrative cost. Imagine a flow of your tax dollars that are more transparent, where citizens can see specifically where their tax dollars are going. This would reduce costs and also opportunity for corruption. Now, there's actually a government that's implementing this already, and this is Estonia. And they've actually pioneered this about 2 decades ago. They didn't start with blockchain, but now they have blockchain. And their administrative costs are lower than nations with similar population sizes. And transparency is easier implemented when blockchain is being used in the beginning. There's government registries, land, car, bicycles, guns, patents, and more. And we can transfer these registries over to the blockchain. And thus we can save money, increase transparency, and reduce opportunity for corruption. And we're just getting started. Blockchain is in its infancy. We're just figuring out the fullest potential, the utilization of blockchain. And I do have to add in that the NuWorld platform is helping solve a lot of these verticals. And this is being done with help of their NuBucks. So if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me after this, and thank you.
Thank you. Let's give Mr. Wong another one. Our next speaker, as we move along in our program, how y'all doing? Check in. Y'all all right? I know after you get done eating, you're really ready to kind of like, night-night. I know how that go, right? I see the night-night lights coming on all around the place. We got a little bit more. We're excited to hear from some others. So just bear with us just a little longer. It's almost through the process, and you will come out of here feeling enriched and empowered and ready to go. And hopefully with your NuBucks in hand, right? Our next presenter is a CEO, or as a CEO, of an American Business and Television Network, American Institute of Corporate Development, Vice President of SCORE in Houston, Intent Streetwise, MBA, instructor, and member of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Office of International Trade Export Outreach Team. Mr. Muhammad's work with entrepreneurs, multinational companies, and governments, agencies, has transformed organizational cultures driven by growth, built capacities, created job opportunities. This is a very amazing young man, to say the least. Would you please put your hand together for Mr. Yusuf Muhammad?
Good evening. As the Executive Vice President of SCORE, I also want to recognize some of the other agencies that may be in the building. I saw, is April Day still present? We have April Day, who's the president of the Women's Business Center, which is also a resource partner of the SBA, just like SCORE. How many of you guys in here are familiar with SCORE? SCORE is a resource partner of the SBA. We're counselors to America's small business. And the Women's Business Center is also one of those resource partners. And we also have the chairman of the Acres Homes Chamber of Commerce. Is Warren Fitzgerald Muhammad in the room? Okay. Can we give them a round of applause? All right. So, how many of us, by a show of hands, are currently in business? Okay, great. I always like to start my talks giving facts about business, because what it does is sets expectations. And by setting expectations, it will give us a justification for why we need an incubator. Because a lot of people are not really familiar with what an incubator is all about and what an incubator does. So I'm going to give a brief overview of what will be done here with the incubator, but first I want to just start off with some facts. So according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are over 27 million small businesses in the U.S. You have roughly about 320 million people that live in the U.S., and there's 27 million small businesses. Well, did you know that small firms represent 99.7% of all employers? Did you know that? Let me repeat that again so you'll know. Small businesses represent 99.7% of all employers. That's small businesses, 1- and 2-man shops. Unless you have more than 500 employees, you're a small business. Does anyone in here qualify for more than 500 employees? Okay. All right. So small businesses also generate 60 to 80% of new jobs annually. So small business, you always hear the mantra that small business is the engine of our economy, and that holds true. When you have 60 to 80% of all new jobs being created by small businesses, that lets you know that small business is a force to be reckoned with. And when we're talking about international trade, 97% of all firms that export are small firms. 97%. You know, I travel around the country, and every week I'm either in a different city or a different country, and I love to hear from my brother when he talked about doing business in Africa and that Africa is open for business. You know, because there's a lot of money that's generated when you're talking about international trade, and Houston is number 1 in international trade. And if this was a presentation that I was giving on international trade, I would tell you all the facts about your city. Your city is a shining star when it comes to international trade. Again, I want to just set the stage by talking about facts of small business. 85% of the small businesses in Houston have less than 20 employees. Again, we're talking about those of you in the room that are in business, and those of you that are in the room that are looking to go into business. I'm setting the stage for why we need an incubator. It's three ways to go into business. You're either going to start from scratch, you're going to buy an existing business, or you're going to buy a franchise. All right? There's 3 ways to go into business. Let's talk about the survival rate of those different ways of going into business. If you start a business from scratch, there's a 35% chance of success. 35%. Why is that? You have no brand. You're starting from scratch. You have no customers. You have to build trust in the eyes of the consumer in order to get new customers, build your business. You know, there's a lot of reasons why small business failed. It could be inexperience. It could be lack of capital. It could be from mismanagement. And not always mismanagement has to do with money. Mismanagement can come from lack of experience in knowing how to operate your business properly. Again, I'm setting the stage for why it's important to have an incubator. And the benefits of having an incubator, what we want to do is try to increase the survival rate from 35%. In an incubator, you have a shared environment, a shared space. And I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of the new Epicenter, the incubator that's being launched here today. So if you buy an existing business, your survival rate increases to 75%. Why is that? You have customers. You have a proof of concept. You have a relationship with bankers, right? You have a system in place. You have a share of the market. You've probably been there for quite some time, and you've established some goodwill in the marketplace. So your potential for success increases. Now let's look at franchising. If you buy a franchise, your survival rate of success goes up to 90%. 90%. So you might ask yourself, well, why would I start a business from scratch? Why don't I just go buy a franchise? It increases my chance of survival. But if you look at 90%, that's not 100%. That means that some businesses still fail when they go into franchise. Why is that? There's a number of reasons why businesses still fail when they go into franchises. That's for another discussion. What I'm doing, again, is setting the stage for the importance of having an incubator. We understand, and I love the energy that Mike and his partner had when they came up here. I love the energy of Mr. Wong when he came up here and he talked about blockchain and they talked about their business, because that's innovation. Yeah. That's the spirit of business. That's the spirit of small businesses that drive our economy. But we do have to understand that those are not just ideas, those are businesses that have to be developed. You understand? So businesses go through different stages of development. And that's one of the benefits of getting involved with the incubator here at NuWorld. My role, as it relates to NuWorld, is to accelerate the successful development of these companies through an array of business support resources and services. Our main goal is to produce successful firms that will leave the program financially viable and freestanding. We want to see these firms commercialize. We want to see these firms create jobs. And we want to see these firms strengthen the local economy in Houston, as well as the local community here in Greenspoint. Y'all all right? Yeah. So, what makes NuWorld different? Well, historically, most entrepreneurship programs focus on holding workshops and classes that graduate very few companies. Here, success is measured by capital raised, commercialized projects, jobs created, and the number of participants in and those that graduate the program. So we choose to focus on hands-on skills building, real mentoring, strong networks, and a long-term support system. In an incubator, you have different categories of companies. You have companies that are early stage. And at SCORE, for those of you who are familiar with SCORE, you know SCORE specializes in helping startup companies get started, get off the ground, get going, find where the resources are, help them gain access to capital. You know, in Houston, we have over 150 volunteer counselors who are all either previous executives or, like myself, current executives working in our companies. But we volunteer our services. We have over 15 offices located around the Houston area. And bringing that level of resource to the table to be able to help these companies in their startup phase, you also have young companies with rapid growth potential. You know, one of the things that I do with the SBA, apart from being on their export outreach team for international trade, I also teach a class. It's an MBA curriculum-based program that's out of Boston. And I teach two different classes here in Houston, one at Lone Star and one at SBA headquarters. It's very difficult to get into the program because you have to qualify to get into the program. So a lot of my clients or students, they're multi-million-dollar firms, some multinational corporations, and they get the benefit of coming into the program to learn how to grow their business. But keep in mind, they have to qualify with the SBA to get into the program in order to do this. Well, one of the benefits of being a part of this incubator, you have the benefit of having that type of expertise, helping these young companies with this rapid growth potential to learn through a curriculum-based approach how to grow their companies without having to qualify through a program of a third party. Then you're going to have established companies that want to grow or recover. So there's different categories of companies, again, that will come to the incubator that we will help establish with the purpose that I stated in mind. So we'll teach an array of business aspects, from product and service development, talent acquisition, business and operations, performance measurements. We'll connect you with mentors and advisors and financiers, as well as successful entrepreneurs and investors. So as you can see that there's a huge need just based on the survival rate of startup companies, even companies that you want to buy and build and take to the next level. The survival rate of these companies show that having an incubator or a place where you can come and learn how to run a business if you don't have that expertise. Because sometimes people, they go into business for different reasons. Sometimes you leave a job because you don't want to be there anymore, so you decide to run your own business, but that doesn't mean you have the expertise necessary to learn how to set up a back office, to be able to read financial statements, understanding what a P&L and a balance sheet and a cash flow statement says to you, because each one of those documents says something different. But here you will be able to learn how to build and develop your business and commercialize your projects so they can be successful outside of here. So I just wanted to come up and say a few words and recognize those agencies and chambers, as well as the North District, North Houston District that's here as well. And for those, if there's other agencies in here that I missed, please forgive me, I just didn't see you. But I'm excited about tonight because it's all about entrepreneurship. I'm very excited that the young companies are here, they're hungry, and they actually have a place. And I want to say this as I close. Andre, you'll get an opportunity to meet him when he comes up. If you've never met him, he's a very humble brother. But he's very smart. He knows how to put the right people around him to help him carry out his vision. And we should all really applaud his efforts and recognize his value to our community. And with that, I'd like to thank you.
Let's give another warm round of applause for Mr. Yusuf Muhammad. Very, very, very important people to make connections with in this community of Houston and certainly throughout the world. Our next presenter is Mrs. Jayshree Pandya. Dr. Pandya is a scientist, visionary thinker, and futuristic. Dr. Pandya is an expert in disruptive technology, advisory board member, keynote speaker, and a globally recognized strategic security risk intelligence expert with decades of experience in science and technology, technology trends, future of technology, disruption, strategic, security risk, and nations preparedness. proceed to the podium, Dr. Kanye.
Hello everyone. First of all, congratulations to the NuWorld team for the release of NuBucks and the opening of this innovation depot. Innovation. Why do we need these initiatives like innovation depot today? I mean, why do these kind of initiatives are needed across nations, across states, across each and every cities and each and every community? Why do we need that? Anybody answer for that? Why do we need innovation initiatives like Innovation Depot? Because innovation has always been the backbone of economic expansion across nations. So let's go to the next slide. So let's look at how we reached here today in the digital global age, or we can call it a fourth industrial age. The first industrial age that was built on the mechanization and manufacturing with the introduction of steam and water power. That led to the first industrial revolution. The second industrial revolution began because of the electrical power. The third industrial revolution began with the electronics, use of electronics and the programming and logic controllers and IT systems and networks. We are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution. What is fourth industrial revolution about? Is it about one single technology? No, it is about, there are many, many amazing disruptive technologies on the way. And this is not only one single technology that is transforming nation, all these technologies are converging, and the converging technologies is bringing us the kind of disruption that we have never seen before. Next slide, please. So, if you look at this, what is driving this fourth industrial revolution today? It is the advances in computing. It is the connectivity, human connectivity, because the computer code and connected computers and internet has connected everyone, individuals as well as entities across nations. It's government, industries, organizations, and academia. We are now getting connected to the things, we are connected to the enterprises, we are connected to the government. Everything is connected and everybody is getting connected. And on top of that, we are having amazing innovations like blockchain. Blockchain is giving us a digital infrastructure on which we can build the systems. So all the systems that we see in geospace right now, like economic system and healthcare and supply chain system, manufacturing, education system, all of the systems now are moving towards the digitalization, and we will be able to build all those systems because of the digital infrastructure that is the blockchain. We also have amazing advances in artificial intelligence. We are connecting everything, the social media, the software implementation, and the data that is being collected because of the Internet of Things. All those data, we are able to use that data because of the data analytics, that amazing advances in data analytics. And all that is creating this artificial intelligence, machine intelligence, and machine learning, deep learning. All that is giving us an amazing capability. Next slide, please. As I have been saying, we are not in the middle of one disruption. We are in the middle of so many disruptive technologies. As I just talked about artificial intelligence, then robotics, Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing. Pretty soon, we will be able to print pretty much anything, at our own home. We won't need to depend on manufacturers to, produce things and send it to us. We will be able to nano manufacturing, molecular manufacturing, synthetic biology. That is giving us an amazing capability. Synthetic biology, if you think about it now, if you are a brilliant computer scientist, you can decide that, okay, I want to have one gene from this animal, one gene from this insect, one gene from that plant, and the rest of that I will write a code. You are in a position to build an entirely new organism from scratch. So this amazing advances in science and technology is giving us such a power that today sitting here you can decide that I want to build an organism and I want to destroy that nation. That kind of power someone has. You can create a pathogen, any kind of pathogen, bacterial, virus, and release it in some nation, or release it against some community, or create something to make some amazing chemical or something that you want to produce. So there are both good and bad sides of this gene editing technology, like CRISPR that comes to us. So we have many new amazing disruptive technologies on our way, but coming back to artificial intelligence, that because of that data that we are collecting, all that big data, and because of that intelligence that is coming from that, we now have amazing decision-making capability. So if you see now, if the students are applying for colleges, do you think that a human being is sitting and looking at all those applications? No. Most of the screening is done by artificial intelligence. This decision making is done by that. And if you look at if you are applying for job interviews, most of the screening is done by artificial intelligence. If you are in a prison, then who will get a parole? Most of the decision is done by the artificial intelligence. So the decision making capability that artificial intelligence brings to us is very transformative. And there is a lot that can be built on that. If we now look the technology platforms, over the years we have been using platforms that were built decades ago by academia and by governments, but now we are in the middle of building new platforms, technology-based platforms like blockchain-based platforms, cloud computing-based platforms, Internet of Things-based platforms. There is amazing advances that are happening, and because of that, we will be able to create new initiatives. We will be able to create many new kind of innovations, and that would give us new way of doing things, new way of communication, new way of doing, like working. In the coming years, we will see that virtual reality will probably transform the way we work. Right now we all are sitting here in this room, but it will give us a capability that you won't even have to be in one place. You all will be able to meet, and feel like you are in the same room because of those advances that are coming in our way. Now, is this the next slide? Or? Yes, okay. So go ahead, please. Yeah, next slide, please. So if you look at now, what kind of technology transformation is coming our way, and what kind of technology transformation is shaping nation's future. So if you look at it now, so far we were depending on our human intelligence. Whatever any human being has able to learn, or whatever intelligence we have, we depended on that. But now we have machine intelligence. So as machine intelligence, there's so much effort going on, so much investment going on in developing machine intelligence, that there is also need for developing human intelligence. In parallel, you will see that lot of innovation and lot of investment is going on in developing human intelligence, so that we can compete with machine intelligence. Otherwise, in very near future, we won't be able to compete with machine intelligence, and machines will take over the world. So that is one trend that is going on. And then of course this connectivity, the information communication and digitization technologies, it has given us such an amazing power of connection and collaboration and cooperation all across nations, that we can come together, build communities, and work towards what we want to develop. And then we are connected. We are already connected because of the Internet of Things, and because of all these social media and information communication technologies. But there is another amazing advancement that's coming our way. Right now we are all depending on Internet, but in the coming years we may see a brain mat. Now what is a brain mat? Right now if we are communicating on Internet, typing data and sending emails out, and that kind of communication where we have to type and we have to enter the data. Brain mat, if it develops, now there are serious advances happening in that, but if we are able to develop that, then we will be able to communicate through our emotions. We will be able to communicate what we are feeling, what we are pain, and what is in our minds. That kind of brain land, if we are able to develop, it is going to be fundamentally transformative in how we do things in the coming years. And then of course microchips. Now we have we have reached the stage where we put microchips in our brain and we are able to control even the weapons using the chips, the brain power. So there is a great advances happening in that, and then of course neurohacking, mind reading, and then smart wearables are coming our way. And as some of you talked about the new NuBucks, that is a different kind of cryptocurrency. So we have seen the evolution from digital currencies to cryptocurrencies, and we are also in the middle of, while this fourth industrial revolution is going on, we are also on the brink of space age. There is a lot of space exploration going on because of the democratization of nanosatellites. There are amazing science, research and development experiments going on in the outer space, and not only that, there are also serious efforts going on moon colonization and to develop, to do asteroid mining. And if we are successful, that itself is $1 trillion economy coming our way. So there are some really amazing advances going on, and not only that, while we have focused on what is happening in the space, there is also some efforts going on and some initiatives to know what is below us, what is there in the ocean. So there is also a great, advances happening there in virtual reality, and another because it's smart grid. As you see that all the grids are getting smart, and not only that, but we are also in the middle of developing smart energy. So great initiatives are going on there, and of course cloud computing and cognitive computing, where the computers and are not only going to just give us some basic data, but they will work hand in hand with the humans, and especially that we are seeing in the healthcare sector. Amazing advances are coming our way. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do nations prepare for that? How do these emerging technology trends and technology transformation define and determine nations' trajectory in the coming years? How do we know which nations are going to succeed and which nations are going to fail? How do we know which nations are prepared and which nations are not prepared? How do we know that which innovation trends and geopolitical implications of existing and emerging technologies are bringing nations strategic security risk? And when I say strategic security risk, it means that are nations' decision makers aware of what kind of ideas, innovations, and disruptive technologies that are coming their way that is going to make their current industries, their current products and services obsolete? So these are the kind of challenges that nations' decision makers are facing today, and they need to think strategically that what is coming our way and what is going to impact our strategic security. So there is a lot of burden on decision makers, irrespective of whether they are governments or whether it's industries or academia or organizations or even families, individuals. They all have to be prepared about what is coming their way. So that we don't have enough time to go through each and every variable that will impact and that will determine and define the success of each nation. We will talk about that hopefully some other day, but there is a very complex challenges coming to each and every nation, and it will define and determine how prepared nations are based on the current initiatives they are taking. So these kind of initiatives like Innovation Depot and centers like that and communities that are building to work on new ideas, new way of doing things, and develop new innovations is the foundation to go forward to prepare for the coming tomorrow. Next slide, please. So we briefly talk about blockchain. I'd say, as I mentioned before, that blockchain gives us the digital infrastructure. It gives us the foundation on which we can build the new systems. Next, please. So if you look at it, some of I think you mentioned before, some of the applications. So if we see, it is heavily used for cryptocurrency. There are many initiatives going on. There are also some initiatives going on for the identification. There are also asset ownership, liability ownership, like land ownership. If you look at Egypt, 90% of the population, They own homes, they own their farms and everything, but there is not a single paper that prove ownership. And Egypt is not the only country. There are many countries where it's very hard to identify or give, some document that will prove that this person, owns this property. So this blockchain application, is trying to take care of the problem and trying to bring all the assets, ownership on the blockchain where, it is transparent and, it is tamper-proof and people feel that, it will bring the trust and integrity in the system. And there are many initiatives from banking to supply chain to content management. I mean, there are many artists all over the world who create, amazing paintings, or there are musicians, who create music, but most of them, by the time it gets commercialized, 90% of that goes away in the middleman and they hardly make anything, or they sometimes don't even get recognition. So these kind of initiatives will make sure that, each and every innovator or author or contributor or content creator, they will get recognition and they will get, what they deserve. So these are great benefits, blockchain, many applications can be built on that, but we are in a very, early stages of the building these applications, and there are many unknowns. Next, please. So, briefly, we can put pretty much any financial instrument on blockchain. Next, please. All the government records can be on blockchain, from land titles to vehicle registries to business license to business, ownership. All these, different records can go on the blockchain. Next, please. So even the private records, for families, you can create the will or the, estate or trust, escrows. All of that can go on blockchain. Next, please. And many other records, like, for academia, there is a lot of fraud happening. People say they have studied in college, they have this degree, that degree, but many times, there is no basis to that. So many colleges, education institutions are trying to change that. They are trying to put all their degrees and credentials on the blockchain, so nobody can change that. That is an amazing advances coming in there, our way. And then all these keys, apartment keys or car keys, all that, can be digitally put on the blockchain. Next, please. And also, for sales and coupons and all different kinds of papers and, everything can be on blockchain. So there are many, and it's difficult to go through each one of them right now because of the limited time that we have, but there are many amazing applications that we can build on blockchain. Next, please. Next, please. So these are just different ideas. So how prepared our nation? How prepared are different regions? Is America prepared? Is China prepared? Is Japan, India, Europe, Africa, Russia? So who is prepared to benefit from these emerging technologies, from the transformative effect that we see because of these disruptive technologies and technology convergence and transformation that is coming over there? If you look at it, USA, of course, this is a place for scientific advances, so there's a lot going on here. China is spending heavily, it's investing heavily into artificial intelligence. If you look at Japan, they're also investing heavily into transformative technology. If you look at Dubai, United Arab Emirates, they want to be the automation hub. They're investing very heavily into this transformative technology. So the focus here, I was told that is going to be in Africa. So we need to see what kind of investments are going on in Africa, what kind of ideas and innovations are emerging from there, what is the need in Africa that will define and determine what is going to be there coming tomorrow. Next, please. So while we are talking about blockchain, and because there is a blockchain gathering, a lot of stakeholders from blockchain, and here we all are trying. There are many initiatives emerging. There are many ideas, many innovations are happening, many applications are being developed. But are we all ready to take that to the finish line, to commercialize it? There are many blockchain unknowns. For example, how to scale or any of these idea innovation that we are working on, how to bring security to them. People say that we will be able to bring security, we will be able to get rid of the corruption, we will be able to get rid of the bureaucracy and we still need to work on, starting from security to scalability to identity, authentication, and validation. There is a lot that we still need to work on, but and of course, the global standards. There is a big geopolitical power going on for that, because each country is thinking that while America, United States own internet, who is going to own the blockchain? Because whoever will own the blockchain will be able to control the world. So there is a big geopolitical play going on here. Next, please. Next, please. So, as I was just saying, that there is a need for global standards, and we need to work on terminology, privacy, governance, interoperability, security, risk, integrity of the network, authentication and authorization controls, smart contracts. There are so many different rules that we still have to work on. So, what next? Now, innovation is an important driver for economic growth. So, nations that are able to unleash and embrace the full potential of all its components. And when I say all its components, means individuals and entities, all the components of the nation, that means governments, industries, organizations, and academia. And the nations that are able to bring them all together and build, communities around them and collaborate and innovate, those are the nations that are going to survive in the coming tomorrow. Thank you all very much.
Let's give Dr. Pani a hand. Thank you so much. We're going to keep moving right along, but we really want to get to what we came for, and we are looking forward to hearing from Mr. Amos today. So I hope that you're patient. We're almost there. We're almost at the finish line, so thank you so much for your patience. We got our next speaker who will be coming before us, Mr. Daryl Malone. Mr. Daryl Malone is a cutting-edge technologist, software engineer, a change maker, co-founder of cryptocurrency, distributor of Coin Vault, ATM, and legal tech innovator. The Two-Man Project. Daryl is a blockchain software engineer and marketing expert who has worked primarily with financial technology. In only a few short years, after relocating to Austin, Texas, Daryl has become a prominent figure in the startup community by assisting in the development of multiple new software companies. Please help us receive to the podium Mr. Daryl Malone.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? So, as was said, I'm a technologist, a software engineer by trade, but I'm also very interested in just how technology affects human society in general. Definitely a student of history, economics, and how technology has allowed things to progress and has created the world that we live in. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about blockchain technology and how that, in particular, is going to be directly affecting our societies. So first, this is not about cryptocurrency. As you've probably seen, we have a lot of other things that can be done with the technology. What it is about is blockchain as a collaboration technology. So to get an idea of what that means, if you think about things like laws, if you think about things like money, these are things that you don't think of necessarily as technologies, but they allow us to communicate and collaborate in ways that we otherwise would not be able to. When you have laws, you can suddenly go from a bunch of tribal people that can barely get more than 50 together without having conflicts, to being able to have cities of millions. When you have money, you're able to do trade and able to do investment across time that doesn't necessarily need to rely on a direct one-to-one needs exchange. Even things such as what you consider the foundational collaboration technology, language. is something that you really can't have a human society without. And when these things come about, it has a great transformative effect on what we're capable of as a people. So, first let's see some of the innovations that have already started to happen within this space. Because we've had some discussion about this, I'm going to talk about kind of the state of play as it is right now. Currently, I'm one of the lead developers for Factum. This is a blockchain technology company that's working in the enterprise space. So bringing this type of technology to the likes of major corporations like Goldman Sachs and that sort of caliber, governments. These are the types of institutions that naturally want to be able to take advantage of blockchain technology because they know that otherwise they could be disrupted by it. So we help in a lot of that process, and because of that, we have kind of a good view of what is needed and what those applications are. So the first we're going to look at is resource management. I'll give you a quick example of a company called Transactive Grid. This is an idea of an energy blockchain. If you can have peer-to-peer monetary transactions, you can also have peer-to-peer energy transactions. As we move into a more decentralized energy situation, where now you have people generating power from rooftops, generating power from windmills, from water, rivers that may be nearby, you have a lot more capacity for individuals to be not just consumers of electricity, but producers. And when you have the ability to do peer-to-peer transactions without necessarily needing to have a large utility in between, you can actually accelerate the development of these types of situations. I was recently in Ghana talking about the concept of bringing that and using that same energy that allowed people who, companies like NVIDIA, from being something that was just useful for video games to becoming something that has billions of dollars pouring in as people try to mine cryptocurrencies all over the world, to have that same type of energy coming from not just somebody saying, from on high, that we want to invest in this type of area, we want to invest in this village, but being able to have people invest in themselves and generate those types of ecosystems without need for a top-down direction. So you could have a village where one person has a solar panel on their roof and is now able to sell that power to other people and is now able to get money from that to increase what he's doing, and then at the same time, another person, his neighbor, can buy a solar panel himself and be on that same network because they're all speaking the same language. So this is what I mean by collaboration. You don't have to have these two people come together and form a company for them to both be able to go into business together effectively. We're actually already seeing this happen in a number of places around the world. In Asia, there are a couple countries where, for example, Thailand is having to really think about how to deal with their utility in a way where they're not just transmitting their own power, but now they have people that are using their lines to transmit to each other using this blockchain technology. And so they're having to rethink their business models to take that into account. So this is just one example of where blockchain can be inserted. And the next thing we're going to look at is trust. Obviously, as I said, Factum is in this business of providing blockchain to these large trust-based institutions, such as governments, such as banks. And one of the things that these companies rely on is the fact that you know them. You can go up to Bank of America and you're not worried about whether or not you're going to get your money, right? You can believe that that's going to be able to happen. Well, with blockchain technology, you don't necessarily need to have a multi-million-dollar global presence to be able to engender that kind of trust. The trust is coming from the fact that you can actually see all of the transactions that happen. You can mathematically prove that something that you say is true. It's not just a suggestion. It's not just an opinion. There's no fake news. It's just a fact. I can go ahead. And then finally, there's the idea of markets. So this is anything that you see, such as Amazon, such as Uber, where you have one company that's sitting in between two transactions that are happening between people. So with Uber, you have the idea of a person who is a driver can now drive people that they don't know using technology to connect them. But an evolution of that is, what if the car was simply driving itself, making its own money, and then able to go about business that way? Another concept that I've worked on is the idea of a smart village. So you have, imagine a neighborhood where rather than every person having a car, the whole neighborhood would have a fleet of smart vehicles that anybody can contribute to. Anybody can go ahead and register, create their own digital identity for their vehicle, and now that vehicle can go and pick up customers within the neighborhood, help them get to where they want to go, do deliveries, pick up groceries, pick up food from different restaurants, and all the while making these transactions, helping out the neighborhood by increasing the capacity of everybody within it, and also giving the person who made the initial investment that financial return. All of this is done, again, without having to go through any kind of top-down intermediary. There's no HOA association that needs to come and tell you, we need new cars, we need to do this, we need to do that. You have the ability to know that there's an opportunity there and take advantage of it and start to get something back from that. So, go ahead. So this is just kind of a brief overview of the real power of this technology. I'll go ahead and go into one more scenario. Who here loves their insurance company? They're your best friends, right? Always there, making sure they got your back. One of the, I just came back from Chicago, where we were doing a hackathon working on smart contracts, which is another application of blockchain technology. And we were working on different concepts and having people within the community, within the Chicago area, build their own applications based on blockchain technology. One of the things that came out of there was a peer-to-peer insurance network that was managed through smart contracts. So rather than having an insurance company that sits at the top, collects all the money, and then is going to try and decide who's going to get paid whenever something happens, and obviously more times than not trying to make sure that they don't have to pay any money out, you can have a smart autonomous organization that instead allows people peer-to-peer to create their own insurance network. So if we go back to the idea of this village, if you have a lot of people who are driving cars and they need to have their own auto insurance, they can each pay into this auto insurance contract that's managed by a impartial software program that is based on following certain rules that are created ahead of time, to where if there's ever any kind of accident, if there's ever any kind of altercation, it can simply examine the letter of the law, it can examine what has happened in the situation, and be able to come out with a payment that immediately executes and allows a person to go and get the funds that they need and allows a person to do what they need to do. As a person who's had that kind of experience of being in a place and ending up now needing to deal with trying to figure out how you're going to survive, as was mentioned, I moved to Austin pretty shortly after college. The reason that I actually moved there, I went there for a birthday celebration, ended up getting hit by an oncoming car, and I was stuck in Austin for months waiting to be reimbursed for payment so that I could get back to doing what I needed to do. So this is a situation that really happens to people all the time, and if you can have a smart contract that's able to execute immediately just based on the rules and the laws that are programmed into it, you can avoid a lot of the conflicts and create new opportunities for people to move more quickly on with their lives. So with that, what's next? What are the new applications that are going to be coming from this ability that has now been granted to us? A lot of that is what's going to be determined here in the NuWorld Epicenter. When you have innovators coming together, when you have people and and their capacity unlocked and unrestrained and able to work together in new ways, you start to see a lot of these projects, such as the ones that I just brought up, coming to fruition. So with that, I'd like to say thank you again for having me here, and congratulations to everybody who is here and to the NuWorld team.
Let's give them another hand. That was absolutely, we got some brilliant people on this planet, I'm telling you. Doing so many amazing things, and I wish we had all night so that we can really explore these discussions. I know your brain is like throbbing right now with all this information, but it is pertinent. It's necessary information. Believe it, it's necessary. This is the way of the future, and we have to prepare ourselves. So we appreciate your patience. As we move forward, we have another speaker. Right after that, we will be hearing from our CEO, Mr. Amos. So we are looking forward to hearing from him today. So just hold on for a little bit longer, and we're right there. But the speaker that's coming before us now is a part of a very significant part of what we're doing here at the NuWorld Epicenter. I don't know if you can feel it, but this is a very unique space. People who come here just don't like to leave. I mean, I'm serious. We have people that come to visit and just like end up living here or staying here. They don't want to leave because there's energy, there's creative energy that's very attractive in the space. And a lot of the feng shui that's going on in the building is sound. It's very sound feng shui from top to bottom, even the design of the building. So we are excited about what our next presenter will be sharing with us and she will be a part of significantly in the building. Iman joins us from Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine, conducting research for the Attire Center for Integrated Medicine, one of 6 academic centers in the country, including Harvard, Vanderbilt, and the University of California. The centers are designed to study, teach, and practice integrative medicine. Iman, of course, is a Reiki healer. She has training in forms of meditation of all types. So we are very pleased, and I hope you can help me receive her with a warm round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you so much to the distinguished panel of speakers, the City of Houston, and most importantly, the citizens, to you, for bearing with us tonight. It's my distinct honor to be before you as a new member of the New Health Integrative Wellness Center that will be housed here at the NuWorld Epicenter. One of the biggest global debates of 2018 has been artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence, or versus emotional intelligence, and the race for dominance in what we call the future. Britain's preeminent scientist, the late Stephen Hawking, was a major voice in that debate on how humanity can benefit from artificial intelligence. Yet there is no secret that he had great fears about what was coming, and that machines could one day take charge. Even though artificial intelligence is how Stephen Hawking spoke to us, he was very, very concerned about the consequences of creating something that could one day match and surpass human ability. In his words, he stated, "It would take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans who are limited by a slow biological evolution couldn't compete and would be superseded." While I love Stephen Hawking and consider myself a student, I would respectfully raise the question, are humans really limited by slow biological evolution? If an atom is 99.999% energy and 0.00001% of physical substance, that would mean we are more nothing than we are something. And if that's true, why do we keep our attention on that small percentage of physical reality when we are so much more? And how much of that equation is a part of the slowdown that Mr. Hawkins spoke about? So, here at the NuWorld Epicenter, we do not believe in a society of us versus them. At the NuWorld Epicenter, we are disruptors in the current landscape and the new curators of the narrative called the future and what that will look like. Inside the NuWorld Epicenter, we believe that it's not about robots versus humans. It's not about them versus us. And it's not about the competitive paradigm that we're used to inside of America. We believe that integration is as much important as innovation, or is as important as innovation. And there's no greater ecosystem or complex network of interconnected system other than the biological community and the interaction of organisms and their physical environment and functioning together as one unit. So imagine, if you will, the world's largest technology-based incubator helping to foster not only innovation in technology from inception to conception, but truly developing our most precious resource, the unbridled human potential, through an integration of wellness at the foundation of this center. I'm proud to announce and to lead the New Health Integrated Wellness Center as a key pillar of the NuWorld Epicenter, bringing together the best in Eastern and Western healing modalities such as IV therapy, chiropractic, ozone therapy, massage, yoga, energy medicine, and a host of others, all designed to bring the mind, the body, and the spirit back into a state of equilibrium and homeostasis. Yeah? So beyond artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence, there was another buzzword of 2018, and that word was mindfulness. We saw it everywhere. Mindfulness in the workplace, mindfulness as a stress reducer, mindfulness to improve productivity, decrease absenteeism among employees, and to improve teamwork and collaboration. I personally began meditating in 1995, taking my first yoga class and mystical consciousness east and west after my father died of a trauma at age 38. Devastated, doctors wanted to medicate me with anxiety pills. And even as a young girl in my early 20s, I knew that something was flawed with that technique and something was flawed in the system. What I was suffering from was deep emotional wounds, and no pill would be able to truly heal me. I vowed at 22 to do something about that. I'm 45 today, and I have studied the impact of mindfulness meditation and yoga therapy on oncology patients at Northwestern's Feinberg School of Medicine, and I've witnessed firsthand the work, and through my work with the advisory board, or as a member of the advisory board for the David Lynch Foundation, taking transcendental meditation into high schools in some of the most war-zoned areas on Chicago's South Side. And through meditating with these students, and in the study that was funded by the University of Chicago's Crime Lab, get that. So the Crime Lab gave us a grant to study whether the meditation could help curb the violence and decrease the amount of in-school arrests on the city's South Side. The preliminary results are staggering. Most of these children have and suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome, equal to that of a war veteran from Afghanistan. They have no space for silence. So we created a space for them, meditating 20 minutes a day, twice a day at school, saving their lives. We know firsthand the immediate impact on brain waves through sitting still for 20 minutes, the calming effect in taking the brain waves down from beta to alpha. Our beta state is our normal waking consciousness state, logic and analytics. And our alpha brain waves is the relaxed and calm state considered the optimum zone for creativity and also programming the mind for success. We know that's how Phil Jackson took Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, B.J. Armstrong, and that dream team from the Chicago Bulls to a 3-time championship. And we know he went on to do that again for Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. When the brain is under stress, your prefrontal cortex is dull, and that part of the brain is what controls logical thinking. You are primarily in the amygdala, which is the survival, flight or fight, survival part of the brain. But it's not just the children on the south side of Chicago who suffer from high-stress living conditions, but it's the NBA players. If we're paying attention to mental health inside of the NBA, and we've seen certain measures taking place, the NBA formed a relationship with Headspace, the #1 app for meditation. We've seen it in rap stars like Kanye West. I worked for over a decade in the entertainment industry. I've worked with Kanye, Snoop Dogg, some of the biggest names. And while I knew personally about some things that Kanye was suffering from, I could not say that publicly. So when things became public, I was the first to his defense on the radio there in Chicago, that we need to take a step back because we have no idea what the person next to you has gone through. And you have no idea the amount of stress that entertainers are under, constant scrutiny. And so the entire country is sieged with stress, and it's become an epidemic. We know the link between stress and disease. There's not one that is not linked to the mind-body level. Inside New Health Integrative Wellness Center here at the NuWorld Epicenter, we will house a meditation studio offering corporate wellness packages and classes on emotional intelligence, mindfulness, creativity, stress reduction, plus heart and gut intelligence. We know now in recent science that our brain is not the only instrument that interprets and receives information. But at the heart level and at the brain level, the neurons in our gut and in our heart are very similar to the neurons in the brain and send signals. So when you have gut feeling or gut intuition, that's real. And so we're going to be working with everyone to help develop those faculties. In addition to treating pain, anxiety, insomnia, digestive issues, nausea, and exhaustion through a series of modalities, Reiki, restorative pose, yoga, aromatherapy, and contemplative care. The NuWorld Epicenter will also house a state-of-the-art fitness center, Soul Alive restaurant serving vegan, vegetarian, and transitional menu. Yes. Because we know that food is medicine, right? Food is medicine, yeah. So, adjustable standing desks, and we're expanding our stem cell center from Georgia and California into Houston, Texas. That will be housed here as well. We really want to make this such a cool environment, and we're bridging technology and wellness, and so we formed a unique partnership with Somadome. Somadome is a meditating pod. It looks futuristic, but you can get in it and you can set the tone to what you like. They use color and light and also vibrational healing, so color, medicine, and music, the true healing. And so we'll have those located here in our center. I'm proud to partner with Sarah Attire. She is the female entrepreneur who founded and created Somajone. We've been working together for a number of months. I'm happy that Mr. Amos was so gracious to help us to bring that to reality. So we thank you so much, and we look forward to serving the Houston community. Thank you.
That's exciting to me. I don't know how y'all feel. I felt like I was getting mentally relieved just listening to her talk about those things. How many of you felt that way? Did you feel a little cleansing in your spirit? Because we all need that. So we're excited about that here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time we've been really waiting for. The brain, the mind, the heart, the spirit behind what we're doing here today. And let me just say this to you. I don't say things about people to try to flatter them. When I tell you we're dealing with one who is iconic, who is really cut out of the universe in a sense, a very special human being. I'm not saying that for flattery. I'm not saying that because I'm committed to this process and I'm with him, but I can bear witness from everything that I've learned throughout my life and the experiences that I've had with great and very wise men and women. We have a very special human being in our midst. What he's doing is not selfish. He could go with his success and go and just live and not worry about people, not be concerned about helping to elevate people, helping to elevate young people in the community, giving knowledge and wisdom to young people so that they can too scale into being successful as he is. Where you can sit down, there's not many CEOs who has had his level of success where you can sit down with him and he will share it with you, the keys to becoming successful. He's not arrogant and proud, but very humble. I am so honored to serve with him and serve him in the process of building this new world. Please put your hands together and help us to receive our CEO, our dear friend, comrade, and leader in this process of the NuWorld Epicenter and NuWorld Platform and NuBucks. Put your hand together for Mr. Andre Amos.
Good evening. I definitely want to thank everybody for actually making it out and bearing with us. I know it's been a little long-winded, but a lot of good information, a lot of great pieces of wisdom we could take away from some of these great speakers. I do want to really give a lot of credit and thanks to all the distinguished speakers that actually made it out. And all the guests that actually made it out. A lot of individuals had to make it out with only a 2-day notice, 2-week notice. So I do want to take the time to give them credit and show our appreciation. So it's a little bit of a list, so if you give me just a moment. We definitely want to give Fruition Labs, Wesley Okiki. He's been incredibly instrumental in helping organizing everything that we're doing with Innovation Depot and this event. So we definitely thank Wesley. We want to thank, I think it's, Jasri Pandaya. If I butcher your name, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Thank you. Yusuf Muhammad. Excellent presentation. Durham Malone, Jabril Diallo, thank you for attending on such a short notice. We definitely appreciate you making it here. Kyle and Mike, excellent job. City Councilwoman Amanda Edwards, she made it out earlier. She had a previous engagement, so she had to leave. But we definitely want to really give her a shout out for just making it out here. Iman Ali, excellent. The NAA ACP has definitely been aiding us along this process. Kick City, I think it's Plasmonics. And then we definitely want to give credit out to Trinity, the chef that actually, again, running behind the community. Also, I don't know if he's still in the building, but former mayor of Prairie View, Frank Jackson. Yeah, we really, again, thank you for making that happen. Thank you for your service. And then the whole NuWorld family. We've been hustling and just grinding, trying to get this event together to make sure that it was presentable for you guys. So again, I definitely want to thank the team. If you could give them a round of applause. So there's two core areas that we wanted to touch on before we conclude. Again, I appreciate your patience. One, what is the NuWorld Epicenter and why? A lot of my background, my mother always wanted me to be an architect, and so when I went to school, I actually went to school for civil engineering for a period of time. Got out, was already making money as an entrepreneur, and so the entrepreneurship spirit kind of really overwhelmed me because I really got that from my mother and my grandmother, and so I recognized that was more the space that I wanted to be in, but I found myself actually learning how to engineer businesses, and so there was a new kind of engineering that I got into. In doing that, I started noticing there was a host of varying areas that individuals would need just based off my own personal experience and my own struggles and trials in trying to become an entrepreneur, that if we had a tool base, if there was a space that could help aid and assist in that process, there could be, we could change the level of success of entrepreneurs, tenfold. And so we set out a period of time in my financial service business to figure out a way how to farm and increase the quality and the intelligence of the individuals that were coming on board with us. And we were able to be incredibly successful by offering a form of education. There was one key thing that I started noticing, whether I traveled abroad or here domestically, and when you're talking about trying to aid and empower people of any background, I start recognizing the biggest quality or biggest commodity in the world. It was the human commodity. We have to increase, if we want to bring about any type of innovative change or huge altering reality, we're going to have to increase our investment in the human commodity. So what we set out to do in the financial service space was to actually create an opportunity, despite whatever your background was, to come in, get educated, and let's change the quality of your thinking and increase your options and your possibility. So in doing that, we recognized we were able to get a tremendous amount of success. Right now, in the financial service space, we're able to train over 20,000 reps in our company nationwide. And we've seen individuals just completely transform their lives just based off of having an opportunity to increase their intelligence in whatever particular area, and you see how it crosses over in the social perspective. So what we wanted to do with the NuWorld Epicenter was we wanted to create a complete ecosystem where you had a number of strategic collisions. So we're not just technology, we're not just entrepreneurship, but we wanted to have all the supporting tools that associated with growing businesses in that industry. So in addition to that, we wanted to be able to add some of the creative components that are necessary in order to kind of market your business to make it whole. So we're going to launch a complete media center suite, which will be literally right across the hall from here, and it will house everything from green screens and complete video production, but complete audio production as well. We're looking to launch a series of other different things. One other core staple, I think some of you may have got to witness, is that we're big in pushing health and wellness. Making a lot of money, developing a grand piece of technology, but your health is crap, means nothing. We want to promote a complete, cohesive reality in the NuWorld Epicenter and all the projects that we launch. So, the NuWorld Epicenter we're very thankful that we were able to get it off the ground and actually have it here. Innovation Depot is the core, the area of what we're focusing on tonight, which is the second floor. So we have Innovation Labs, which will host a lot of hardware innovation and technology engineering. We have Innovation Suites, which will house individuals who need individual suites to launch their business and sometimes collaborate with other businesses and innovators. We have one space. I don't know if everyone got to see our room with the desk bikes. We plan on doing something really cool with that. Wesley has brought up some really good ideas. We intended on trying to make the bikes function in a manner where we can actually catch the energy that is generated from the bikes, and then my goal is to recycle it through the building and save a little bit on this $25,000 light bill. But he had a better idea, and that was, I don't know if it's better, but it's going to look great, was to actually the yellow lines on the street to light it up and make it progressively go up the more and more energy that was produced. Hence we named it Kinetic Corner. So we want to promote a healthy existence in every space that we operate in. So again, thank you for your support. This was a very short notice. We really wanted to get Innovation Depot launched, and so it's great to officially be here. Second thing I wanted to touch on before we conclude was what we're launching in the NuWorld platform. The NuWorld platform is literally our attempt to toss our hat in the approach of launching a grand digital ecosystem. So there's maybe 4 core components I'll speak about, and then we'll conclude on the significance of the cryptocurrency that we're launching, NuBucks, and why it's so effective, why we feel that it will be so effective for startups, pre-existing businesses, and all the way down to just individuals. One of the key components that we launched in the NuWorld platform is the XChange marketplace. This is a new marketplace, very similar to Amazon or Alibaba, but we wanted to infuse a series of really strong components that will actually empower the consumer, at the same time empower the vendor or the business that is on the platform. So one of the key components that we connected with was what we classify as the ICANN platform, which stands for Instant Credit Access Network. A lot of our businesses are underfunded. Or just need funding. So we wanted to create a very pragmatic approach in order to establish funding a little different than the traditional path, but yet utilizing a lot of those elements, and then giving a channel for the traditional funding sources to interface with these businesses. And so we wanted to be able to establish a level of metrics outside of what normal people utilize to assess credit and risk. So the ICANN platform essentially is a very unique peer-to-peer, primarily focused lending solution inside of the exchange. And so what we do is we ask for everyone that gets on the exchange, they don't have to participate in the ICANN platform. It's more so for individuals who want to potentially extend the level of lending, and we kind of incentivize them to do so, and then potentially build up a level of account receivables. And we'll show them why that's important, especially for some of these young businesses or growing businesses who need additional funding and don't have a lot of time. So with the ICANN platform, we introduced a credit bureau that is attached to it. We're launching, and that's one of the big focal points that we're launching, is one of the first international blockchain credit bureaus. So we want to establish, and we want to bring in a number of other varying factors that most of the time they're not assessed or associated with traditional credit. There's a ton of additional factors that should be considered. But we want to give individuals an opportunity to get started despite wherever they may be at in their business cycle. So one component that we require, and that is for every single individual that wants to, or business that wants to interface with the ICANN platform, they have to be willing to extend a $500 vendor line of credit. And what I mean by vendor line of credit, they don't have to give out any money. Just if they have a service or a product, they need to be willing to consider, and we allow them to isolate it and identify a specific product or a specific service that may not be so cost burdened if they want to extend it in that particular area. What that does is it incentivizes, one, a level of lending or peer-to-peer lending, but it gives these new individuals or pre-existing businesses who need some additional resources or services that opportunity to interface with you. For the businesses that are extending it, and it can be something as simple, hypothetically, you are a consultant, you could extend a level of initial consultation for $500 just for 30 minutes. So now it's not taking too much away from you, but it allows for you to generate a new account receivable, and what you'll be able to do once we show how we track it and keep a very clean digital paper trail, we have lenders already in place that will extend lines of credit to you immediately after you build up 90 days of receiving these account receivables. So very short-term opportunities to actually start generating or getting some larger lines of credit. And so we think we have something very unique from that standpoint. The last component that we added to the platform that we'll touch on tonight is the unique identifier. So in some of the developing countries that we're looking to work with, a lot of times they don't have any unique identifier or numeric identifier. And what I mean by that is sometimes they don't have a social security number, they don't have a birth certificate, and so this is a problem when it comes to getting lending. It's a problem when it comes to even interfacing with the rest of the world. So we've created a biometric identifier for every single individual that actually interfaces with our platform. So not only do we establish them a NuWorld identification, but we establish something with some very unique abilities to secure exactly who this individual is. And over the course of time, as they build up their credit profile or their movement on the platform, individuals, whether they're lending institutions or just businesses, have an opportunity to assess exactly the nature of and behavior of how they operate and move, and they can decide exactly how they want to potentially interface. Now, lastly, what we are doing to fuel and to keep this platform alive, we instituted a transactional fee that goes with every single transaction inside the platform, and we called it LOVE, which stands for License, Operation, Validation, Expense. So it allows us to utilize and keep the blockchain technology updated and growing and evolving. In addition to it, a portion of that love actually goes towards our ambassadorship, which is our mentors and leaders that help grow and direct the course of the platform. third of it actually goes towards the startups, the pre-existing businesses that need additional capital, in addition to starting additional incubators like this all throughout America, and then whatever other countries that we're trying to interface with. So the whole initiative essentially is spread the love. So. And finally, the other third goes towards just maintaining the platform. So we want to show that, just by every time individuals actually participate and do a transaction, we can garner and repurpose or reallocate a lot of our resources towards aiding and growing each other's initiatives, each other's programs, each other's businesses in this manner. So again, there's a lot to go over. We would love to share more. We are launching our early stage, our discounted version of our coin, NuBucks, today, this evening. We have a table outside if you want to learn more, get more familiarized with what it is that we're doing. Again, thank you all for coming out, and thank you for helping us launch and issue the actual birthday for the Innovation Depot and birthday of NuBucks. Thank you.
Y'all can do better than that. Thank you, Mr. Amos, and thank you all so much for coming out and spending so much time with us. Please continue to visit us here, continue to network with us. We want to, before you leave, those who were speakers, we would like to extend, just as a token of appreciation, thank you, if you will, and maybe even a memorandum in this very important and significant moment. So we'd like to give a certificate of appreciation to Mr. Jabril Diallo. Can y'all put your hands together? We'd like to extend a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Kyle Lampkin. We'd like to extend a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Yusuf Muhammad. We'd like to extend a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Wesley Okeke. We'd like to extend a certificate of appreciation for the Honorable Amanda Edwards, of course, who had to leave, so we will make sure that we get that to her. Can we give her a hand anyway? We thank her for coming out at short notice. We'd like to extend a certificate of appreciation for Iman Lee.
Jashri Bandia.
And so we thank you so much. I'm looking for the rest of them, but thank you so much. And if we miss you, we'll see you in a few minutes. So thank you so much for coming out. Please socialize. Enjoy yourself as you depart from the building. Thank you so much.